Hi, this is Remembering the Past, the show where we talk about people who've died recently, who've had a profound effect on our history, our society, or our culture. And tonight we're not even going to start out with a person, we're going to start out with Lord Nelson. Not the British naval hero, but the only horse ever to be penalized in a college football game. According to The Guardian, Rutgers University says Lord Nelson was 42 years old, or the human equivalent of 126. One of Lord Nelson's duties during his 37-year Rutgers career was carrying the school's Scarlet Knight mascot during football games. Against Army in 1994, Lord Nelson was penalized for unsportsmanlike conduct after he broke free and raced down the sideline at Giants Stadium. Lord Nelson was one of the first horses to be part of the University Police Department Mounted Patrol when he was purchased in 1978. He served for 10 years before becoming part of a student-run patrol unit for 20 years. He retired as an equine professor emeritus in 2000 to teach children about horses. Hey, the least we can do to pay tribute to Lord Nelson is play a little bit of the Rutgers fight song. We're going to move on now to Joel Spira, who died recently at the age of 88. Joel Spira was a physicist turned inventor. He got a BA from Purdue University in physics after World War II and went into the aerospace industry. And it was there he developed a solid-state semiconductor that turned out to be great for dimming lights. And he was essentially the inventor and refiner of the light dimmer switch that essentially every house and most buildings in the United States use today. And with that knowledge, he and his wife founded the Lutron Electronics Company, which is one of North America's major companies in the production of lighting controllers. Here's a Lutron Company report on Joel Spira.
In the late 1950s, Joel Spira set out to invent a solid-state device that would enable people to vary the intensity of light in their homes. The idea was very radical. At that time, lighting control was complicated and expensive, and was primarily used to dim stage lights in theaters. Most people never considered having dimmers in their homes because they were just too difficult and costly to install. All that changed in 1959 when Mr. Spira designed the first light dimmer. Mr. Spira introduced the Capri dimmer in 1961, which marked the birth of the lighting control industry. As the original rotary dimmer, the Capri transformed lighting to a simple yet effective way for homeowners to create ambiance in a room. In 1962, the dimming device patent laid the foundation for hundreds more patents to come over the next 50 years. And in 1963, Mr. Spira's dimmer-type snap switch received an Underwriters Laboratories listing. Lutron Electronics incorporated in Pennsylvania in 1964. In 1970, Lutron relocated from Emmaus to Coopersburg. Today, the Coopersburg headquarters is a busy hub of research and development. Throughout the years, Lutron has innovated a variety of solutions to help save energy and enhance comfort. While Lutron engineers continue to look forward, researching and developing new products, those early years of innovation have been documented in Washington, D.C. In 2010, Mr. Spira donated materials related to the company's history to the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History. Those materials, including his original inventor's notebook, joined other artifacts in the museum's electricity collection, ensuring that his contributions to lighting control will maintain a place in history.
Well, one of the things that we emphasize on this program is if you're an inventor, you have to have luck. And Mr. Spira was lucky because his invention coincided with the baby boom and the housing boom of the late 50s and early 60s. And here he talks about it.
Well, I saw that it did have a possibility. I look at the census, and at the time there were 60 million dwelling units around. And then I figured out, well, what if I put a dimmer in every one of them? And then I multiplied by what it was selling for at that time. And gee, this could be a reasonable business. It had potential. I didn't realize that today we have more than one dimmer in every American home, even though it's gone from 60 million to about 110 million.
We're going to move on now to Bob St. Clair, who died recently at the age of 84. He was one of the great linemen in NFL history. Played his entire professional 14-year career with the San Francisco 49ers. In fact, he played his entire football career, including high school and college in San Francisco, except for a brief period when USF discontinued football and he had to go to Tulsa. So he's definitely a Bay Area legend. He's one of the best offensive tackles to ever play the game. He was first or second team All-NFL 9 times, selected to 5 Pro Bowls, and he was the 49ers captain for 3 years, and he was elected to the Hall of Fame after he retired. Here's NFL films on the career of Bob St. Clair, who was also the tallest man in the NFL for most of his career.
Bob St. Clair was a true son of San Francisco, where his legendary career was born, nurtured, and ended in Kezar Stadium. For 17 seasons that spanned high school, college, and the pros, Bob played an astounding 189 home games.
Kezar to me was my first love. This was San Francisco's baby. This is where you played football.
At Kezar, Bob, number 79, displayed equal parts speed and intelligence, power and ferocity, and a flamboyant personality. Bob soon towered over his Polytechnic High School teammates and became an all-city performer. He received a scholarship from the University of San Francisco. There, on a squad that featured future Hall of Famers Ollie Matson and Gino Marchetti, the 1951 USF Dons rolled over opponents. They went undefeated, untied, and uninvited to any bowl game.
We received the news that the Orange Bowl would want us, but would have to leave the 2 black guys behind. Georgia Tech at that time wouldn't play against the black guys. So naturally we said, go to hell. That's just crazy. We didn't even have a meeting on anything. We just said, no way. Sticking together as a team to take such a stand against racial prejudice. That's the legacy of USF 51.
In 1953, the 49ers drafted Bob in the 3rd round. At 6'9" and 265 pounds, he became the tallest player in the NFL for nearly 2 decades. He was also one of the most durable intimidators to play the game.
I played with no face mask for 3 years. I lost 5 teeth on one play, blocking a punt. I broke my shoulder, played the rest of the game with a broken shoulder. I played offense and defense for my first 3 years every down. So I'd say to them, I don't think the question should be whether or not guys like me could play in today's league. I think the question should be whether these candy asses could have played with us.
The larger-than-life St. Clair blocked 10 field goals in 1956 alone and was named to the All-NFL team 9 times in his 11-year career, as well as starting in 5 Pro Bowls. But one of his greatest contributions was leading the attack for San Francisco's famed million-dollar backfield of John Henry Johnson, Joe Perry, Y.A. Tittle, and Hugh McElhenny.
It just came together in the million-dollar backfield. I mean, incredible. It's so unusual that you would get that kind of players with that talent on one backfield. My God.
One by one, the 4 members of the million-dollar backfield entered the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Bob St. Clair was left behind for nearly 30 years.
Having waited as long as I did, naturally you feel that you've forgotten. And then all of a sudden, when I was voted in, my God, all hell broke loose. Emotionally, it was just outrageous. I think the best way I can to describe my feeling right now is if you relate to the movie Rocky. He sprinted up those federal steps, the music reached the crescendo, and he raised his hands up high and said, I made it. That's the way I feel. I took a deep breath and I composed myself, and it was probably the greatest moment of my life. I want to thank you very much, all of you, for making my day in the sun so memorable. Thank you.
Bob St. Clair was definitely a throwback character. He used to eat raw meat. He had some Yankee Indian heritage, and his grandmother used to feed him raw meat and raw liver and bird hearts and dove and quail and stuff like that. So his teammates called him the Geek, which was inspired by a character who was fed live chickens in the 1947 movie Nightmare Alley. But as I said, he was definitely loved in San Francisco. He was right up there with Willie Mays, and he's one of only 12 49ers to have their jerseys retired. As an indication of what a legend Bob St. Clair was, the field at Golden Gate Park's Kezar Stadium, where the 49ers played from 1946 to 1970, was renamed Bob St. Clair Field in 2001. We're going to close tonight with Bill Arhos, who died recently at the age of 80. And Bill Arhos was a nice Greek boy from East Texas, Teague. And early on, he got involved with public television in Texas in Austin. But he didn't get involved in any of that artsy stuff. He got involved in country music. He was a frustrated guitarist, and he knew a country musician out there by the name of Willie Nelson. And together they started the television show Austin City Limits, which has become the longest-running live musical show on television. The pilot for Austin City Limits, featuring Willie Nelson, was shown in 1974, and the show began airing regularly in 1975. It's not just a country music show now, it's a country music phenomenon. Country music's become a major cultural product of Austin. They got festivals, concerts, everything. And the television show Austin City Limits didn't just feature country musicians. They got people like B.B. King, Ray Charles, Leonard Cohen, and even rock musicians like Robert Plant and Neil Young. Here's a Texas television report on Austin City Limits and Bill Arhos.
Before Willie Nelson ever took the stage here, there was Studio 6A, and there was a tight-knit group of public television staffers working to create local programming.
It was an absolute perfect start. PBS started a common market program cooperative. All these facilities were springing up, and we needed more ideas and more programming from around the country.
Seasoned program director Bill Arhos was inspired by others to look at the burgeoning Austin music scene and reflect that in his new show.
Bill loved guitar players, and he knows a lick or two on guitar himself. He was able, vicariously to live a lot of his musical fantasies through the likes of Townes Van Zandt, Guy Clark. A lot of his own heroes came and sang and poured their hearts out on the stage.
Well, if I needed you.
Bill imbued a sense of honor, integrity, a passion for music.
The Texas singer-songwriter tradition was the thing that Bill loved the most. God knows Texas is blessed with some of the best.
They built a new stage, set up a shoot, and invited Willie Nelson to perform. And with that, Bill Arhos had a pilot in the can to take out to the PBS system.
He convinced very skeptical PBS stations in cities scattered all over the country that it was a worthy idea and that it belonged on their station.
And the reason that Austin City Limits continued and was funded year after year after year is because of Bill Arhos.
Arhos set the tone for the program's first 2 decades. He created the show and fought for his creation through the years.
He's a man. He likes guns. He likes to fish. He was a poker player for Austin City Limits. This is his baby. This whole thing, he was in it from the beginning until the moment he left.
Bill got it launched as a series. Bill kept it going as a series for 25 or more years. And that was an important part of Bill's legacy.
Music fan, TV producer, Austin City Limits creator. His passion and determination launched and sustained the longest-running music show on American TV.
Well, I'm going to close on that note. I want to thank my producer, IT Genius in Podna, Sid Tepps. And since they were talking about great Austin composers, we're going to play one of the greatest, Townes Van Zandt. A lot of people outside country music don't know him, but inside country music, they know him as one of the great songwriters. Maternal side of his family had money, and in fact, the Townes name is on the law library at UT Austin. But before he died, Townes had a very hard life. He wrote some great country music bluesy songs that he did, and they were covered by just about everybody. And our closer tonight is one of my favorite country music songs. It was played at the Austin City Limits Hall of Fame for Willie Nelson. He played it along with Emmylou Harris and Lyle Lovett. This is from the original recording by Willie Nelson and Merle Haggard of Townes Van Zandt's Poncho and Lefty as a final tribute to Bill Arhos. And this is one where you should definitely try and check out the whole song sometime.
One of the best songs ever written, a song called Poncho and Lefty. Written by an Austin boy.
Living on the road, my friend, is gonna keep you free and clean. Now you wear your skin like iron, breath as hard as kerosene. A few great veterans say could have had him any day. We only let him go so long. Out of Kansas, I suppose.